Well, we'll talk about that. Ann Bradbury is CEO of the Exploration and Production Council. And we talked to Ann now this morning. Ann, thanks for coming on our morning show. We do appreciate that. Good morning.
Hey, Greg. Good morning. It's great to be with you.
Thanks for your time. So what's going on here? Now, Biden says we're going to tackle climate change. Most people that have the ability to think critically, even a small degree, will say this is in retaliation for the border. What about that?
Well, what I would say is that, when President Biden came into office, he promised a whole of government approach to address climate change. But really what that has manifested as is a whole of government approach to attack American energy through policies from any number of different agencies. And the latest one that we're seeing is from the Department of Energy to halt any new approvals of liquefied natural gas exports and to revisit the criteria by which they approve them, which is going to make it much more difficult to continue approving LNG exports in the future. As you know, this is absolutely nonsensical. It will have the opposite effect from what they say it would for climate, but it also hurts our own energy security. It hurts our allies, and it empowers our adversaries.
And so, Ann, the battle continues between the Biden administration and all of these energy people out there. Democrats have always been down that road. They hate energy in the oil companies, natural gas, whatever it is, coal, and the battle continues. So what do we do about this?
Craig, that's a great question. It's more important than ever to, for energy voters and citizens to make their voices heard to their elected representatives. Y'all have great members, representatives from Midland and from Odessa, through August Pfluger and Jody Arrington. They're great energy advocates. But your listeners need to make sure they continue to make their voice heard to representatives throughout the country, and to vote and to write your elected representatives.
And so when they talk about tackling climate change, and who was it? One of the administration officials at a press conference says, well, this is obvious. I guess it was some energy guy. That we have, and Joe Biden is following the science and all of this kind of nonsense. And I'm not broke, but I'm not buying it.
That is a really fair point. That is an absolutely false narrative that is being put forward by leftist activists that really have a keep it in the ground agenda, not a climate agenda. We know that liquefied natural gas displaces coal around the globe and is actually beneficial for the climate. Here in the United States, natural gas displacing coal is the reason that the United States leads the world in emissions reductions. And it's not because of wind and solar, it's because of natural gas. So to say now that all of a sudden natural gas is bad for the environment and bad for the climate is nonsensical. Their agenda is really an anti-fossil fuel agenda, not a climate agenda.
With us on the radio is Ann Bradbury, CEO of the Exploration and Production Council. And if you don't mind, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on here. But tell us about the Exploration and Production Council. I'm sure there's a website we can go to and visit and everything, but tell us all about what you do.
Sure. So our website is axpc.org. Folks are welcome to visit it. We're also on all of the social media accounts. But what we do is we represent the leading oil and gas upstream producers in Washington, D.C., and we advocate with policymakers on both the Hill and within the administration for sensible pro-energy policies. So we represent producers like Diamondback and Permian Resources, who are located in Midland, as well as any number of producers throughout the Permian Basin in Texas and New Mexico, but really throughout the country.
Okay, and we'll bring in a call, 913 on AM 1070 KWEL.